Right now at 10, the man accused of a poisoning plot appears in court, how he pled to his charges in Rock County.
And the National Suicide Lifeline for LGBTQ plus youth is shuttered. How a local program is looking to fill the gap.
Plus, the Badgers report to Platteville. We'll have the latest on the first day of their football training camp. All ahead on News 3 Now at 10. And good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Eric Franke.
And I'm Sarah Carlson. Paul Van Dyne, the man accused of poisoning women in both Rock and Dane counties and sparking several hazmat investigations back in June, returned to court today.
Our Ellie LaLiberte brings us the latest on the investigation into Van Dyne and his alleged co-conspirator from the courtroom.
Paul Van Dyne pleaded not guilty in Rock County Court today. Van Dyne is facing 3 counts of first-degree intentional homicide, aggravated battery, first-degree recklessly endangering safety, and stalking resulting in bodily harm. He's facing even more charges in Dane County. According to court records, Van Dyne and his girlfriend, Andrea Whitaker, allegedly stalked and tried multiple times to kill women Van Dyne had previously been on dates with, breaking into their cars and putting cyanide and thallium in water bottles and hydrogen sulfide and abrin in air vents. A Rock County court official set Van Dyne's bond at $37.5 million earlier this month. Today, Van Dyne appeared virtually from the Dane County jail and requested a different judge.
A request for substitution of judge filed today, and but that is on file, so you're aware of that. Have you seen the information?
Yes, Judge. We reviewed it with Mr. Van Dyne, and we would waive formal reading of it and ask the court to enter not guilty pleas on his behalf.
The last time Van Dyne was in court in Rock County, Amanda Bade, the alleged Rock County victim, spoke to the court. She says due to Van Dyne and Whitaker's poison plot, she spent 38 days in the hospital, partially paralyzed and losing her hair. Both Van Dyne and Whitaker are expected back in court in Dane County on August 5th. Reporting outside the Rock County Courthouse, Ellie LaLiberte, News 3 Now.
Ellie, thank you. Last night, the Sun Prairie School Board held a public meeting following the arrest of former staff member Robert Gilkey-Meissegeyer for alleged child sex crimes. One parent at the meeting called the handling of the case a systematic failure. That same parent said they're mandated reporters and we shouldn't have to push them to do their ethical jobs. This afternoon, News 3 Now spoke with the executive director of Safe Harbor, a local children's advocacy group. She says anyone who works with children in their profession must report any suspicion of child abuse and misconduct.
By law, a report has to be made to law enforcement or human services. Reporting within your internal policies is not enough.
A criminal complaint alleges the district's HR department previously investigated a tip regarding Gilkey-Meissegeyer's relationship with an underage child, but did not report the tip to Dane County Human Services or the Sun Prairie Police Department. The district eventually closed that internal investigation, marking it unsubstantiated. News 3 Now reached out to the school board and its members, but have yet to receive a response.
To weather now, it's been muggy, but many areas stayed dry today. Will that trend stick with us?
There's Alex. He's got the latest on our rain chances.
Yeah, for the most part, we'll stay dry through a good portion of the overnight, but showers and thunderstorms will be approaching Grant County and Crawford County as early as 4 or so in the morning, just before the morning show gets going. That's round number 1 here, moving through the area as we head towards 8 o'clock. And then the continuation, widespread showers and thunderstorms up through noon. As we carry forth further into the afternoon, we get a bit more of a band developing behind as a cold front and weather system moves along that frontal boundary, bringing periods of heavy rain. We can't rule out a strong thunderstorm near the Wisconsin-Illinois border as well as we go into the afternoon hours. That all-important concerts on the square time, 7 o'clock. Still looking at winds coming out of the east and northeast and rain shower activity across the area, with eventually conditions clearing out as we get a little bit later into the overnight period. Then right now, the other part of our weather story, rain and smoke. It sounds kind of strange to have rain and smoke as your main weather stories, but up towards Camp Douglas, over towards Marquette and Green Lake counties where you see all the oranges and all the reds, that is the smoke that's currently moving in from the north and from the west. Coming up in Maine weather, we're going to track that smoke plume and we're going to track how much rain you can expect on Wednesday. That's when you join me in just a few moments.
All right, Alex, thank you. The City of Madison's Behavioral Health Emergency Response Program has now provided care for 10,000 people in crisis.
And as our Maddie Heims reports, the milestone comes as the need for mental crisis care continues to increase.
Is this a police response? Is this a fire and EMS response? Or is this potentially something that would benefit from the CARES program?
That's the question City of Madison dispatchers ask when an individual calls with a nonviolent mental health emergency.
We want to really try to figure out what truly that individual needs at that point in time.
Assistant Chief of Medical Operations Chris Hamas says figuring out what the caller needs is really the crux of the city's Community Alternative Response Emergency Services, or CARES program.
There are individuals out there in our community that do not necessarily need a traditional law enforcement response or a fire and EMS response based on their behavioral emergency that they're experiencing.
And as of this month, the program has responded to 10,000 individuals with its two-person response, consisting of a paramedic, a crisis worker, and a non-emergency vehicle.
It's oftentimes a slower call, and purposefully that way.
The milestone coming at a time when national mental health resources like the Trevor Project, which specialized in mental health help for LGBTQ+ youth, face federal funding cuts and reductions. CARES, however, could see just the opposite. A current pilot program is testing a service expansion in Sun Prairie.
We'll run the numbers, see how things are looking based on the request for service and the needs that we're able to fulfill with that, and then determine if it's feasible to expand the CARES program to other communities as well.
To continue responding to mental health crises on a local level.
Offer additional resources, different pathways, different avenues that individuals can get some help.
Reporting in Madison, I'm Maddie Heimsch, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Maddie. In other news, President Trump's budget bill will result in the largest cut to SNAP ever seen, and some communities may pay the price. In 2023, SNAP accounted for $124 billion in sales at 262,000 retailers, half of which were at superstores like Walmart, while a quarter went to supermarkets. Now, if recipients no longer have access to SNAP, this could lead to an economic hit for certain communities.
That's going to reduce spending at those local stores, and therefore could create some economic hardship, and even in the most extreme case, potential closures of those markets.
New work requirements expand to parents with children older than 13 and people ages 55 to 64. But researchers say work requirements for SNAP do not increase employment.
Madison Parks officials cut the ribbon on a new way for kids near the city's west side to cool off. A new playground is now open at Renabaum Park near Hilldale Mall. It features 20 ground and overhead spray and water play features. The overhead feature spins above the splash pad area with falling curtains of water. The spray ground complements the neighboring playground, which is designed to be accessible for all.
In September of 2023, many of you were here to celebrate with us as we cut the ribbon on the accessible playground here. We have newly renovated restrooms that are fully accessible that really just opened up in the last day or so. We also have tennis courts that are under reconstruction right now.
The spray ground is planned to be open daily from Memorial Day through Labor Day. It joins splash pads located at Cypress, Elver, and Rindall Parks.
Well, work is officially underway to upgrade News 3 Now's over-the-air signal to bring better our local news, weather, sports, and programming. On Monday, crews began their work to install a new UHF antenna on the Madison Community Tower located south of Mineral Point Road on the far west side. And then next week, another new antenna will be placed on a tower out in rural Rock County. In short, this new equipment will help to better get our signal into your home.
So a lot of the people with their antennas that they can't put an antenna on the roof. For an example, if you're in an apartment building, you have these little flat panel antennas. Those will pick us up a lot better with the UHF signals that are going through.
Very exciting news for a lot of our viewers. So if you're wondering if you need to rescan, just wait. The new, more powerful signals are set to go live sometime early next month, so you'll want to rescan at that time. And of course, we'll update everyone with more information when that happens.
The Packers have announced a change-up in their roster on day 6 of training camp.
And our senior Packers writer Jason Wilde was in Green Bay and has more on who is switching positions.
You know, when you do this long enough, you know that certain things are a bad sign for most players. And one of them is when a team asks you to play a different position. I've seen running back switch to cornerback. I've seen a quarterback become a wide receiver. All those guys had one thing in common. They ended up not being on the team after that. But I think we found a potential exception this year, the Packers have asked Bo Melton, a wide receiver who, remember, in 2023 was the first receiver on the team all year to have a 100-yard game. He went out and has now moved to corner. And I think it's intriguing to think about what he might be able to do there. I know he's made a good first impression so far on Matt LaFleur.
Yeah, I think so. I just think that speaks to the level of competitor that he is. He's not a guy that's going to shy away from tough challenges. So that's why we decided to do what we did. And certainly it doesn't eliminate him from the offensive side of the ball. We just thought the best way to give him a real chance is immerse him in the defensive stuff, and then let's just see how he handles it and how he's done. And he's done a great job. So, you know, we'll have some interesting conversations moving forward.
So Matt LaFleur likes what he sees. The Packers like what they see from Bo Melton, and Bo Melton is feeling more and more comfortable. Now, I think the reality for Bo is that they want him on this team, and they've got a lot of wide receivers and maybe not enough room for him at wide receivers. So Brian Gutekunst, the GM, Matt LaFleur, the head coach, have found perhaps a spot where he can grow and improve and stick around still because he's such a vital special teams player. So keep an eye on the guy who used to be number 80, now he's number 16 as we go forward here in preseason. That's it from Lambeau Field. Jason Wilde, channel3000.com.
Thank you, Jason. If you want to be up to date with the latest Packers news, you can sign up for Jason Wilde's Extra Point newsletter. Just head over to the Packers page on the Channel 3000 website.
Well, after the break at 10, President Trump finishes his trip to Scotland.
And a deadly shooting leaves New York City shaken. Why police believe the suspect traveled all the way from Las Vegas to carry out the attack. Stay with us.
You're watching News 3 Now at 10.
A deadly shooting rampage in the heart of Manhattan has left New York City shaken.
4 people died in last night's violence, and police are piecing together the gunman's motivation. Investigators believe the gunman, identified as Shane Tamura, was targeting the headquarters in that building of the National Football League. They believe he drove from his home in Las Vegas, walked into the Midtown building with that high-powered rifle shown here in full sight.
So all of a sudden see a guy walking with an M4. Nobody on Park Avenue said anything. Everybody, I'm literally watching the man walk up to the building stairs.
Tamura's online profile says he played high school football. Police say his note accused the NFL of knowingly concealing dangers to the brain and asked that his own be studied.
Today, President Trump wrapped up his visit to Scotland. During his trip, the president hosted British Prime Minister Keir Starmer with starvation in Gaza key as a topic of their discussions. Returning to London, Starmer held an emergency cabinet meeting announcing a major policy change.
The UK will recognise the state of Palestine by the United Nations General Assembly in September unless the Israeli government takes substantive steps to end the appalling situation in Gaza.
Meantime, the U.S. has not yet agreed to recognize a Palestinian state, but President Trump said Israel needs to allow more aid into Gaza as thousands are starving. The president is also threatening to tariff countries that buy Russian oil if Russia's president does not return to the table to discuss peace with Ukraine.
The National Weather Service issued a tsunami watch for Hawaii and also parts of the West Coast. It comes after a massive 8.7 magnitude earthquake struck Russia's far eastern coast. Meanwhile, Japan is currently under a tsunami alert, saying urgent action should be taken to protect lives and property. Back in 1942, a magnitude 9 quake in the same region caused damage after setting off 30-foot waves in Hawaii. Well, there's the potential for some showers locally here overnight.
And Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington is here with a look at Radar 3000.
Yes, Radar 3000 will be lighting up tonight as part of the 3 things you need to know. Poor air quality Wednesday. Radar 3000 will be a washout as it looks rainy. And Thursday, much cooler, drier, and will start to improve, hopefully, that air quality. Now, let's get right to it. Right here, Future Track showing showers and thunderstorms breaking out over southwest northwest Wisconsin. By the time we get to a little bit closer to 4 o'clock in the morning, that'd be over towards Grant County. Of course, this will be just at the start of our morning show. As we go closer to 6 o'clock, a few scattered showers and thunderstorms. It's after 6 o'clock we really start to see widespread shower and thunderstorm activity build into the area from the south and west. Again, late morning through the early to mid-afternoon hours. Take note, yet another cluster of showers and storms, and we can't rule out a strong storm or two right along the Wisconsin-Illinois border, especially. They'll be a little bit closer to the warmer side of this weather system with rain persistent, a couple of thunderstorms lasting to 3 o'clock. As we go towards that all-important hour, 7 o'clock, that's Concerts on the Square. Still looking at showers across the good portion of the area stretching right along U.S. Highway 151 in areas off towards the south and towards the east. Finally clearing out as we head towards midnight, and cooler conditions will then prevail a little bit later. I mentioned earlier, let's give you a projection of the water that we're expecting, perhaps 3/4 of an inch to an inch from Madison areas to the south, with the best chances for that heavier rain to pile up here right along the Wisconsin-Illinois border. If we get a couple thunderstorms one after another, we call that training. We could have some isolated higher amounts greater than 1 inch, but significantly less water north of the Dells up towards Camp Douglas, perhaps only 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch of water. Concerts on the Square. We're in abundant communication with Joe and WCO regarding Concerts on the Square and the forecast tomorrow, with it likely being a rainy day. We'll make a call very likely at some point on Wednesday as to whether or not we're going to host the concerts during the evening on Wednesday or look for that rain date, which would be Thursday. And the good news is Thursday is looking quite nice, provided we can get that wildfire smoke out of the atmosphere. Current smoke cover right now concentrated up towards the Dells and areas to the north. That's where you see the reds. That's the more concentrated area of that PM 2.5, that wildfire smoke coming down from Canada. Interestingly, when we put our wildfire smoke model into motion here, look what happens as we go towards the morning hours up to noon. Madison areas to the south, very light amounts of wildfire smoke, and that's because the rain is bringing some of that smoke down to the ground, smashing it into the surface. But when the rain ends, look at what happens as we go into Wednesday night into Thursday. You see those greens and those yellows start to filtrate back into the area. That's that smoke coming back in, but hopefully we can kick that smoke out of here by the time we get a little bit later into Thursday. As you see the blues returning, that means that wildfire smoke is pushing off towards the west. This means that this is unhealthy for some, to that unhealthy range. If you are susceptible to the smoky conditions, it's best just to limit outdoor activities and stay inside as much as possible. Turn that AC on. I know maybe that's a little counterintuitive when you see these really nice temperatures, but that wildfire smoke can mean business for some folks, and it may stick around into the weekend as well, even though the overall conditions are looking quite nice as we head towards the weekend.
No kidding, and a nice night, perhaps Thursday for concerts.
Yes, Concerts on the Square, if it gets moved to Thursday, is looking stellar.
Wonderful. Thanks, Alex.
Alex, thank you. And still to come in sports, Badger football season less than a month away now, and we're going to Platteville to see how the team is preparing for their game against Miami of Ohio. Day 1 of training camp in the books. Welcome back, folks. Football season almost here. It's even closer than just right around the corner. In some ways, it is already here.
Very true. The Badgers kicked off fall camp in Platteville this morning. Our Andrew Banstra was there, kicking off our coverage.
It may feel like summer just started, but believe it or not, football season has officially begun for the Wisconsin Badgers. They reported to UW-Platteville's campus today, where they kicked off day 1 of their fall camp. There are a lot of changes this year for the Badgers, but one thing has stayed consistent under Luke Fickell's tenure: this trip down to Platteville, something that he says always helps the team.
Being away is important, whether that's for our players or for our coaches, where you can kind of try to, hone out a lot of the other things. You change your environment a little bit. You got to rely upon each other. In order for us to do this the best way, our guys got to spend time together. Our guys got to understand that it's not just about the X's and O's. It's going to win games and allow us to handle adversity. We've got to continue to take advantage of these time out here and all the things that we do have out here.
There is a certain anxiety that comes with day 1 of fall camp for Luke Fickell, something that he says is healthy.
What I look forward to is a little adversity, is the anxiety. To be honest, I don't know whether this is, you're 24, 25, 26, 27, of being a coach, and you still are up at 2:30, 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, because there is a anxiety. There is that just what that comes along with starting, and maybe even a little bit more when you got a new quarterback, when you got a guy that you haven't been with in the fire.
The head coach acknowledges that the last 2 years have not been exactly what the doctor ordered, adding they've made the necessary steps to ensure that it won't happen in year 3.
There's a great attitude. Let's just be honest. Like, nobody likes where we finished and where we are or where we were. And that's what, if they came back for a reason. If they came to our program, they knew what they were signing up for. The ability for us to be consistent, to continue to not just be where we are, but continue to grow, that is going to be the challenge for us. So I feel great about where we are. I love the attitude. I think we've got a collective leadership group that gives us a much better chance to handle and continue to grow through all things that we're going to face.
And we are just getting started down here in Platteville. Today was the first of 15 practices the Badgers will have down here at Ralph E. Davis Stadium before they return back to Madison for their August 28th season opener. For now in Platteville, Andrew Banstra, News 3 Sports.
Andrew, thank you. And tonight, as seen at our sister station television, Wisconsin Brewers hosting the Cubs at AmFam Game 2 of their 3-game series. A great night again. Andrew Vaughn, bottom of the 6th with a grand slam. His 10th home run of the season already. Brewers would cruise to the 9-3 win. It is now a 2-game lead for the Brewers in the National League Central. The Crew go for the sweep tomorrow. It'll be a 1:10 first pitch from Freddie Peralta. We'll be right back. Well, move over Taz. There are a couple of new Devils in town. For the first time in 5 years, the Los Angeles Zoo is once again home to Tasmanian devils, folks. Working in partnership with the Australian government, the 2 males were transported just this month.
And I love this. They're named Danny Zuko and Crush. The devils were born at Aussie Ark, a not-for-profit conservation organization that manages breeding and rewilding programs for some of Australia's most iconic and endangered species. Now, if you're booking a trip to that zoo in LA, you can see these new residents at the Animals of Australia habitat and then make that Tasmanian
I'm not doing the
noise.
Tasmanian devil. I did a project in 4th grade on Tasmanian devils. I loved them, though. But wasn't Danny Zuko's girlfriend from Australia?
Yes, Sandy.
I think so. That's
from
where
Greece.
that's the connection there, I think.
Yeah, it is.
From the movie Grease.
I love Danny Zuko.
Let's go to Alex. Final check of the forecast, and we're cooling down quite a bit tomorrow.
Yeah, with smiles here. Not so much for the rainy day on Wednesday, but we're cooling on down. Finally, we've gotten to that point. Unfortunately, we have to also deal with some poor air quality as well as we move forward into Thursday. But Wednesday, again, looking like it's going to be a rainy one across southern Wisconsin. We'll keep everybody up to date on the latest with Conscious on the Square.
All right, thanks.
Thanks for joining us. Stephen Colbert coming your way next.